Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with block 2 of the Psychedelic Snowflake quilt. Now, you're going to find the PDF for this pattern in the show notes below. But first, let's do our surprise shout out. When we're filming it, today is November 6th, but this is going to drop December 1st. Now, I found a brand new, pretty much a brand new YouTuber doing quilting and sewing and whatnot, and it's Ruth from SewFullyMe. Now, it's S-E-W and then fully with me. So she's just starting out. She's got like 5 videos on today, and it's really cute. They're really adorable. So go check her out, and when you do, tell her Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. Now, we're also going to have the PDF and the corrected PDF. This is the wrong one, but the corrected PDF is in the show notes, and with her, with Ruth's YouTube channel. But we're also going to have a Zoom link for our sew dates from now until the end of December, and then we'll get to next year, 2024. And then what happens is we've got a Zoom sew link. Now, in the last Zoom sew date, I did sneak peeks of this block. So if you're not coming to those sew dates on Zoom, you're missing out on the sneak peeks that I'm doing, right? Because I'll show people little sneak peeks here and there about what's coming up on the channel. So, and they're a lot of fun. We have some lovely ladies that come to those, and it's lots of talking and lots of questions, and it's just a great way to spend your day. It starts 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Alberta, Canada. The other thing you're going to find in the show notes is our Facebook group. We're having so much fun in there with sharing pictures, getting advice, welcoming new members, and it's all about the stuff that's inspiring them, not the stuff that I've put out that you've recreated. Yeah, it's nice to see, but I want to see what inspires you. So come on in and join that Facebook group, because there's a lovely community that we're growing there. Now, come on in. We've got some really cool sewing today, and we are doing this block, block 2. I probably should have a better picture of that block, but there it is. Okay, so come on in. We got some sewing to do. Okay, so it looks like we got a pile of stuff here we need. Well, you know, okay, you need a good little scissor. This tracing wheel helps you draw along the seam lines, or the lines that you've got to do for your sewing. Now this helps perforate the paper. Now I've got these already cut and done, and you can see how it perforates that paper. It also helps make it fold over easy. So I also need a add a quarter ruler. I have a rotary cutter. Tape is your friend for this, because wow, you always are going to need some tape somewhere along the line. You're going to need tape. And what I have done is use pencils, but you can use crayons, you can use pencil case or crayons. I bought a big thing from IKEA there that I'm going to give to the grandkids because I didn't open it. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to mark on your pattern the colors you're going to use, right? Now, I'm just going to lay this out like so. No, you know what? I'm going to use the actual pattern that I did. So this is Unit A. This is Unit A, this is Unit B, and this is Unit C, right? So as you're sitting there, Unit B is actually the easiest. So it's, you know, like you've got one and then a symmetrical color of green here. I know this is marked yellow, you might not be able to see it too well. And then the rest of the colors lay out pretty symmetrical, like purple, pink, red, blue, and then one orange. So there's one orange, one yellow. So the 2 greens, you know, Unit B5 and B3 are the same. Unit C1 and A1 are the same. Unit C8 and A9 are the same. And then C3 and A3 are the same. C5 and A5 are the same. So that's how you lay this out to get that symmetrical look. Now this block is actually, it comes together really quite quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and of course you need fabric. I pulled everything out of, like this fabric goes with this, and this fabric goes with this, and this fabric goes with this. I pulled everything out of my crumbs except for this piece of orange. right? Because I had a scrap that I thought, okay, that was the same orange I used last time. I'm going to use it up and try and move it out. So that's where we're at. We're sitting at all the same color. So it doesn't matter which one you start first. Let's start with this one first. And we'll just get everything rolling. Get all this stuff out of the way that I don't need. Because, wow, that could be lots. Okay. So the first one you're going to do is you're going to put a 1 and purple and B2, right? So we're going to flip this over. I have a bunch of this kind of shaped stuff in my crumbs I'm so glad to get rid of. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lay it like this. So I'm going to get it as far over as I dare. Okay. There we go. And bring it down to that sew line. Basically, you want to put it to the sew line above where you're at. And, wait a minute, let's move this up just a hair. Yeah, I'm going to move this up just a hair, like that, so. And this just up a hair, like so. Because when I turn it, this seam's going to be caught. So, there we go. We're just going to run this under. I forgot to check to see if I have enough thread to do this, but we'll find out. I might lose bobbin chicken, but that's okay. You guys have seen me lose bobbin chicken lots on this channel. It's like a sporting event. Now, okay. And we'll get the other one done. See, I just leave them, I set them up, I get all my pieces ready, and I leave them set in order that I'm going to sew them. And that just makes it easier for me. That's all. That's all that is making life easy for me. Now let's go this way. Well, this purple is too big for what I'm doing, but it'll be fine. There we go. Move that up just a bit and put this down right on top. Now, if you wanted to check to make sure your piece was positioned correctly, you know, because I'm using the next line up, right? Because I've got a 1/4 inch between these two perforated lines. I don't know if you can see. So I'm just using the next line up. So what that's going to do is going to move my piece up just a bit. And the purple is obviously too big for what we're doing here. And you go just a 1/4 inch past. And then, okay. I don't even know if I'll need a pin. Yeah, I will. I will need one pin. Now with this yellow, on the sample I made, it shows a different yellow, but that's okay. Now I had an odd shaped piece in there. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to pin it because it's on the right side facing up once you flip it over. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do while I have it pinned, because that's one that I want to pin in place, right? I'm just going to quickly cut off the stuff that's not needed. Just like so. And get the other side cut while I'm here on the cutting board. Got everything handy, might as well trim both up at once. Okay. Now, B2, or C, yeah, B2 is here and it's black. And I probably oversized these, but that's okay. They're part of, a lot of the stuff, if it's in the crumbs and it gets used up, it's gone. I don't worry about it. Yeah, unless it's big enough to make something else out of, I don't worry about it too much. I might as well go right off the edge. Okay, so this is how we're pulling our pieces now. Now, there. Now this red piece came in at a really odd angle. And I'm going to show you a cheat. Because your red piece on, here we'll get the other one clipped and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So when you're looking at your red piece, in order to get that funky angle, right? Actually, it kind of is shaped like our province, Alberta, right? So it's a funky little angle, and yes, it does work. It does work. But when you're laying this down, what you're going to do is you're going to put two pieces good sides together, right? Two of your little scraps, good sides together. And you're going to get them so that this will come like this, right? You're going to trim it so it will come over and up, right? Like that. And you're going to do two at a time, but you're not sewing it. You're just trimming it so you get that very strange little angle going, right? That's going to do this. Now, let's see, how did I do that? What I did is I laid it across and I kind of fiddled with it, and it was a full piece, and then I pulled it back just to trim the black. And I had these strange little black, the red was a square or a rectangle, and then I just trimmed it off. And because I made two pieces at once, I have one for one side and one for the other side, because that's the crazy little angle that you need to put this in. So just to check it now, to make sure everything is in the right spot, you pull and push this over a little bit, just like so, and you pull it up like that. Now that is going to fit your piece, right? So I know it sounds weird, but that's the hardest part of this block, is getting that funky little angle cut correctly so that it works. And I'm glad we did this at the beginning of the lesson. There we go. Okay, get that off. Okay, let's get the other side and I'll show you what I mean. So you've got them right sides, or like both facing side up, right? And now you're just going to place it, this weird little shape, just like that. So it's got to be here, up here, right? So now you're just going to, because they go in different directions because they're symmetrical, but you can cut two at once if you remember how to do that trick. Okay, let's get this one. So we got some bright yellow here too. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to trim this right away and then sew on the other one. Oops. There. And it says to sew on the green. I prefer to secure the yellow first. But, I mean, that's entirely up to you on which way you want to sew them. You know, both ways will work because it's the perfectly symmetrical block. This one is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which one you do next. But okay, now we've got those two weird little pieces here, and we're just going to fit that in there like so. And we're going to fold over the red. There. There we go. There's one, and that's the black off of this pile. There we go. Now once you get it trimmed, you can just lay your next color down and you're away. You're away at the races, so. And this one's got good coverage. We're going in the right direction. Now I have a little space here. I don't know if you can see that space, that little white space. Now when I turn this over, if that's within the seam allowance, and it is, because there's the seam allowance. Oh, let's get this. Okay. And I'll put it so that you can hopefully see this. So that little black piece is within the seam allowance, that space. It's right there. Now, can you see where the needles are? The pins are right there. So that little space is right within the seam allowance, so I'm not going to worry about it. I am not going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep sewing, content and happy. You, according to people like Ricky Timms, you only need 1/8 of an inch, really, to do this. You know, and I'm quite happy to just leave it as 1/8 of an inch. I'm good. Okay, let's get this here. Okay, lay down flat. Lay flat. Okay, here we go. And now we're back to the centerpiece. Now I have sewed this out of order. If you want to follow the order, you can, but it's a yellow and a black, and then you can do either a black or a green, doesn't matter. And I need to get that thread out, so I'm just going to pull it with my tweezer. There. And it's still there. Why is it still there? Is something weird? Nope. Okay, it's gone now. Okay. So now I'm just going to trim this so I can get a green on. And it doesn't matter which green side you do either. That's the other beautiful thing about this centerpiece. This is a nice one to feed through while you're thinking about other things. Like if I was doing all 6, I would do all 6. You know, this, I would do all 6 of the next one, I would do all 6 of the next one, right? So it's a little less stressful. And I found this really cool green in my crumb bin. I thought, ooh, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. It's going to be lovely. Okay. And now you're sewing between... Okay. I put it on the wrong green, but that's okay. So now... we're almost done here. Wow, guys. This is not going to take long. And we'll trim it all on the outside edge and we'll sew it together for you. And then we'll... okay, so the next piece here is blue. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to put this one next. Yeah, this is not taking long at all. Now... yeah, I had a whole bunch of these blue squares. They're a little on the dark side, but there's enough contrast to make it work. So I'm like, okay, we can use that. We can use that. We can move it out. That'll be good. Okay. Okay, now this piece is ready to go, and I just have to leave it like that. Okay. Oh, yep. Okay, now here on this piece, because we've got that orange center to go up there. Okay, so I'm going to do my B6, because that's the longer one. Or, what is it, unit A6. So I'm just going to fold this all out of the way. And get, and of course, I now have a little rip. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little rip up right away. And now I have a good seam. Now, okay. And now there's a little black piece that goes on. Okay. And we're just going to make sure that gets in there. It's perfect. Okay, there we go. Oops. There we go. Okay, now I am going to get this one done. Hopefully get that piece of orange on there. And now unit B is done, because this is all the piecing that has to happen there. And I'm just going to try and finish up this so I can get the orange unit on there. There we go. And then there's kind of like a little wing that goes on after that, so. I don't like this orange. I don't know where I got this, but wow, I really like it. Now here, on this very tip, you have to make sure you're out far enough this way to cover your point. Because I've cut pretty close to the edge. You know, I didn't go too crazy, but I mean, you want to be able to cover this white bit here. And otherwise you're going to have to pick it apart and, you know, get your seam ripper out. Notice I didn't put seam rippers down as an essential tool, right? That's kind of one of those things. I didn't put it down as an essential tool. So, I'm just going to show you quick. Once I get one of these done, I'll show you how to trim these. So what I do is I lay this down just like so with a fine lined ruler, right? Like my Olaf ruler, that's what I love. Then this doesn't look like anything until it's trimmed. So, and I do the other side. Now I put my 1/4 inch right on that seam allowance. And there we go. So far so good. No oops cutting, no nothing. Wow, I'm impressed. Usually there's an oops and you go, oh no. So here we go. There, nice. And I'm just going to make sure that tip is worked off correctly. Okay, there we go. So that's the piece we're looking at. That one's all trimmed up and ready to go. So now let's get the other ones done. Okay, so now this is all done this way on this side, but we've got this little wing thing that's going on, and we have a black piece that goes on here. So we have a choice of either going the black this way and the pink, or just doing a long black strip. Because one does not interfere with the other, we should probably do it the way it's numbered, just so we don't confuse people, because just because I see it and understand how that is going to go doesn't mean everybody else does. I'm finding out, so that's okay. That's okay. I've been doing a lot of paper piecing. I love paper piecing. I get some very precise points with paper piecing that I do not get, or precise blocks that I don't get with regular piecing. So there it is. That's going. Okay. So now, there's a little, this thing needs a little assistance because it's gotten mangled pretty good. I'm just going to go quickly over this. Now when you're putting tape down and you have to iron, don't iron this side if that's the side that you're putting the tape on, because it will stick to, melt and stick to your iron, and that will cause all sorts of problems. So let's also get this. Okay, so let's get this done. Which one is, there's one that's much longer. No, it's the same size. Okay, so we want to put this here. There we go. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the end. Like, it just hang it off the other, because it doesn't have to go all the way to this point. It only has to go like a 1/4 inch up from here. So you want it up, but not, you know, crazy pushed up all the way. So let's get this on. Okay, here we go. Now, we're going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to flatten this out the best we can. Hopefully everything works out. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to do the line, the black line here, because there's a black line here and a black line here. So let's get this black line here done. This little wing. Because then you can see it come together symmetrically. Okay. Yeah, this was a fun block to do. Because it's so quick. You know, it's quick compared to the other one, I thought. But I don't know, either that or I'm getting better at doing them. So I'm just going to put the tape down because it's all over the place. Okay. And now just line it up so I can trim it well. There we go. Nice. Nice trim. And there. Okay, so the only pieces we've got left. Now you won't only have to go up to a 1/4 inch over, so we want to sew this one like this. Now this is what I like about this foot. I can sew either way because I have good visibility on this foot. Okay, and that's important. Okay, so there. Let's press that open just like so. And now just fold back that. Now I'm using 1.5 inch strips, and because I have them, I would not recommend you use 1.5 inch black strips because there's a lot of waste. Because you just saw what I threw out. But this stuff has been kicking around for so many years, I don't know what to do with it, so it's being used. It's an opportunity to use it up. And if you're doing long skinny pieces, this is the time you pull out your bigger chunks that are the right width. And then you do one and then you trim it. And you still have a bigger chunk, right? So you'd want to take a chunk like this, you know, that's probably, you know, 6 inch or more than 6 inches, like more like 10 inches. And then you'd want to make it the right width, right? And then you just trim one at a time. Now with this pink, I want to be able to cover that tip. So I'm lining up, now this is a cheat. I'm lining up my pink line here on my 1 inch line on my cutting mat, and I'm easily going to be able to cover that tip. So I'm just going to hold it and put it under. A little bit of prayer. Nothing goes wrong. As that happened too. Just, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So, now I am going to show you this. I didn't see too much. This one, this one seemed to wobble a bit. That seems not perfectly straight. Like I haven't got a good 1/4 inch all the way. And that might be from my feed dogs or something. But that happens sometimes when you're doing these long, narrow pieces. And if I make a mistake, I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you how to correct it. I'm the only person on YouTube that hopes I make a mistake. Okay, there now. We're just going to do the same trick again. We're going to put the point at the 1 inch line and across. Oh, no, we're going to put the, no, we're going to do this first. We're going to do this like that. There. So my fabric now is lined up to my 1 inch and it will cover this point, right? So that's a fast little, that's a little trick that people use to line stuff up. You know, that's I don't know if it's an intermediate skill or what, but it's a cheat. It's a trick. It works. Okay, so now when I fold this over, it covers my point. Yay! Okay, last piece is that long skinny unit on this side. And I'm just going to fold this all over. We're going to be done here in no time, which would be good. So, one of the ladies in our group, she had put a Hexi calculator in there, and I strongly recommend anyone who's wondering how many blocks to make of each, go look at it. Because there's only 6 blocks. That's all there is. There's 6 blocks. And you make them look different by spinning them differently or laying them out differently. Okay, so there we go. I use my stitch ripper just to loosen the stitches. You always start with a fresh needle when you're doing any foundation paper piece project. You always start with a fresh needle. And you close up your stitches to real tiny. So, what we're going to do, okay, and that one just lays down. And good, because the ankles are going in. All you have to do is have a little bit on either side. Okay. Yeah, oops, turn it this way so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to have it meet up. Yes, I am. So good. Okay, here. Okay, so this is the other side. Yes, we've got good coverage. Yes, we do. If I were ironing it with a hot iron, it would lay flat, really flat, and it would look perfect. Okay, now. Okay. So, here we go. Like every time you sew on a piece, you're supposed to iron. I'm showing you how to do this, so you can do it quickly, but if I was doing this for a show quilt, I would be ironing. Or someone very, very special in my life. Oops, I'm going to lose a piece here right away. So I'm just going to quickly tape it. down in place. And I lose that too, probably. Let's get that taped so I know where I'm. So, yeah, if I was doing it for someone very special, who I am, you know, when I'm doing my larger size ones, I make sure I, you know, I sew, press, trim, sew, press, trim. You know, I'm into that rhythm, and I don't have a problem then with this thing going on, you know, where you're finger pressing and hoping for the best, right? And that makes a big difference on how this finishes. Now here you see you have a little bit short, and it's within that 1/4 inch seam allowance. And if you wanted to, you could put a little freight check right there, and you know, and make it happen to make sure that you secure that seam a bit. So what we're gonna do, so I'm just gonna lay this out. Okay. That, yeah, that's right on the purple. Now, oops, where'd it go? Oh, I moved it. Now I can't see what I'm doing. Now, other thing you can do is just give it a little more, like a thread or two more seam allowance. That's another thing you can do. And you hide that mistake. But if that happens and it's kind of like, wow, is that ever skinny? Wow, is that ever a skinny seam? Then what you can do is you can freight check it. It might be like if it's too close to a scant 1/8, I'd freight check them, right? So it's just the way I do things. That's just me, right? So okay, I get to trim all the rest of these now. Yay! Okay, we trim, and then we. The other thing too, if I was doing this for a show quilt, as I would be, I would use my clapper, and that's important if you want to get a really super flat seam, is using your clapper. Okay, now one of the things I'm going to show you, I trimmed everything up, and you can see some of the seams are a little shy, but that's within the seam allowance, right? That's all good. It'll be in the seam allowance. It's, you know, it's not a problem. One was particularly close, and what I did is I just dabbed a drop of freight check on it, and it was too close for me, so I put some freight check on it. So, I mean, it's 1/8 of an inch, and you know, kind of a scant 1/8. But I mean, what happens when you put freight check on it? It dries clear, and it'll stay like that forever, right? It doesn't matter, because it glues that little black piece of fabric to the purple, and it'll stay there for decades and decades and decades. So now what you're going to do is you're going to sew this piece on, these two pieces together, and then this piece, right? So let's get these two pieces together, and here is where I found it useful to get my pins out, because you want to match the corners. So this corner here, when you put it right, drop your pin right in that corner, and you want to drop it right in this corner. Ooh, let's go buy a lotto ticket, because I'm like a thread off. There we go. So, and you push it down almost to the ball, but you don't, you know, secure it. Don't secure it. Now, you're going to go right in the corner again. This is, I know it's not called needle matching, but it might as well be called, because you're basically using the points of your needle to match up your pins. Now, you're going to hold this nice and tight and secure, so your pins are now perpendicular to your work, just like that. Okay? And now, because you have good placement, you're going to put it through the work, and the ripple will be this way, but you've got your points are secure now. So we're just going to pull this pin, find my foot pedal again because it wanders off, and I'm going to sew right down my seam allowance line, right to my pin. Okay, right to my pin, and I'm just going to tip the last pin over. There we go, pull it out, and there we go. And there we go. Nice. So there we are. That's our first seam. This one comes together really quick. There's no weirdness. It's not like last month. Okay, now, so I push that to the black because you want to push it to where you're going to have the least resistance. And for some reason, you got seams here, you got seams there. The black solid piece, for me, lies flattest. But if you're a press open person, I mean, it wouldn't matter because then it would just lie like, you know, it would lie open, right? And then your bulk would be just redistributed along that line anyways, right? So let's get the next one on. And this is where, you know, once it's all together, I use my clapper and make sure I had a good, lovely, pristine point. So let's get this one done next. Put your corner in. Okay, estimate. Oh, I'm off. Okay. Okay. Sometimes you just want to... Oh, no, I'm off again. There we go. There. Now, just like that. And we get the other end of it. And I'll push it through a little. I like pushing that first one through a bit because it's come undone. We've popped off the... And now you want to go right to that very tip. You guys can see what I'm doing. Now, when you press them together, what you want to do here, is make sure that the needles are perpendicular to each other. And with this one, because it's a little bit longer, I put in 2 pins. One here, and one where the direction I'm going to tip it. There, I'm going to tip it that way. So I want it to be on one side. Ow, I just stabbed my finger. Yow. That hurts. Okay, so now we've got the pins going at a perpendicular. So we're good. There we go. And push that in. There we go, just like so. And we're going to pull that first pin. We're going to put it under and pull it, and we're good. Okay. Yeah, I really like the original foot on this, the Singer 301A. This is the antique foot I'm using, and it just makes such a nice, like, there's a good space in between the sides of the feet, so it's nice to be able to see that. Okay, just take my time. Ooh, I hit the pin. That's not good. I'll be changing that needle. Okay. So now I'm going to press to the black. So there's the black, just like that. And now I'm going to sew my stay stitching. I'm just going to go within the seam allowance, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get rid of that paper there, just to make it a little easier for me. Okay, there. And you just have to pull up your paper just a bit, you know, just away from the seam. And you want to do the other side too. That's the only one that you need to worry about paper. Okay. And you just want to stay in the seam allowance. And pivot with the needle down. And you get rid of that excess paper. Otherwise you need a tweezer. Mind you, tweezers aren't bad. There. Now. And with that, we're done. Let's get to our ta-da moment. Well, like I say, we're going to do the clapper and all the rest of the stuff and iron it nice and flat. And then I'll show you the block I made. Okay, let's get to our ta-da moment. Okay, this is our big ta-da moment. So this is the block we did. Now here's a better picture of block 2. Right, I don't know if there's another one that's little. Here it is. Here's, no, yeah, this is another one that's block 2. Right, because of the color, they don't even look like the same block, but they're definitely the same block. Now this is the one we just sewn, and these are the sample ones I've done. Now, honestly, I don't sew on the black outer rim until I've made up my mind what I'm doing. So because of all the 3 different layouts you can do, there's lots of possibilities with this quilt, right? So I'm leaving it up to you as to what layouts you like best. And when you do the, you know, the lots of variety layout, it looks like you've spent years making this quilt, where basically it's, you know, like 6 blocks and you've paper pieced it, right? So I mean, it's kind of a versatile pattern. But don't be afraid, don't rush ahead too much and do these. Do the number of blocks you need, and you know, and get them done ready. And then when you start playing with them, you'll be really surprised at the effects you get just by churning and turning and whatnot, right? And this one gets very simple layout because my daughter preferred to see the stars in the center. Okay, it's a baby quilt. Okay, I see that, but there's lots of varieties that you can do. So, until we meet again, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week. You guys take care and stay well. Okay, bye! Okay, so here's layout number 1. And that's where all the orange, or the little bits of orange, go into the center and create a little star. And it's kind of nice because it's bordered by a darker blue, so it really makes that star, that orange star, pop. But let's try this, where we just take one and we do it half turn. Okay, or like a 1/3 of a turn. And now we end up with something very different. And because of the yellow, it creates movement, right? So you've got like a 6-pointed pink star in the middle, but you've got, you know, this movement here, right? Okay, now the last layout is this. And I'm just really taken by this. I think this looks really cool. Because this, you know, you just put the symmetry back into the block, right? And you know, you make the mirror images of themselves. So those are the 3 different layouts. My husband and I would love to thank you for all of the amazing people that we have met along this crazy YouTube adventure that we've been having. We do free speaking engagements too, so if you're part of a guild and they're looking for, you know, people to talk and, you know, and chat with, you know, in their monthly meetings, tell them that I'm doing free ones just to help the guilds out, because it's been a tough time for the guilds as well. You know, share, like, and subscribe with your friends. You know, make sure that they're, you know, they get the word out on us. That's the best way you can do to help us out. So until we meet again, I want to thank you. Okay, goodbye.